It's 4:30. Without wasting a single minute, I think we can start with Tilawat Quran. I invite Mr. Moin for the same. Moin, can we have you, please? Thank you.
Yes, sir. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The most gracious, He is who has taught the Quran. He has created man. He has taught him an intelligent speech. The sun and the moon follow courses exactly computed, and the herbs and the trees both alike bow in adoration. And the firmament has He raised high, and He has set up the balance of justice in order that you may not transgress due balance. So establish weight with justice and fall not short in the balance. It is He who has spread out the earth for His creatures. Therein is fruit and date palms producing spats enclosing dates. Also corn with its leaves and stalk for fodder and sweet smelling plants. Then which of the flavors of your Lord will you deny? Sadaqallahu Azim.
Thank you, Moin. Jazakallah. With this, I'll just have a short introduction about KCCI and our guest speaker for the same. So, Kokan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, an environment made by the community for the community, the grads that aspire to become entrepreneurs, has been given birth by Mr. Intekhaab Chougle, sir, a banker, a writer by passion, in 2017 with an idea to create an ecosystem to bring an experienced business leaders of the community and the young upcoming talents who think of reaching the clouds of entrepreneurship and research. These are two types brought under one roof to help each other battle the fast growing world. A community that has service experience for so many years, lagging in giving their ideas a platform. Mr. Iqbal Vanoo Sahab and Mohsin Rakhangi Sahab, our panelist, made it a complete cake to serve our great minds and make them edge-cutting minds. We indulge our young talents with our own people who have a wide experience in the same. KCCI widely believing growing and nurturing our talents, from creating different testing platforms of knowledge to knowing how an unwrapped fruit of a community would taste after being irrigated with fragile care. We want to see our Kokani young lads creating history. People with great ideas and no direction are pulled and nurtured to make their work a great success. From giving ideas to helping them with giving a route to clear their financial problems. KCCI, being a beloved child of Intekhaab Chougle Saab, has been doing what it has been invented for. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, who is going to talk us about what are the options in India for the future as a retiring or returning NRI. This is a subject in which we should all deeply interested because it's by avoiding financial mistakes that we can best ensure our financial future. Our speaker, although having spent almost his entire career advising people on their finance, guiding them to entrepreneurship channels, startups, and so on around the globe, he is an award-winning professionals right from getting awards at the from the giant of telecom industry, from British Telecom being the best employer award till being awarded as the best entrepreneur from Asian Chambers of Commerce. So I'll take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. I'll like to add one more point to it. Mr. Abdullah Thakur Saab has the ability to get extraordinary achievement from ordinary people. So with this, like he's a CEO, co-founder, VC fund at Dhow Capita at Kuwait. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Abdullah Thakur. So all yours. Thank you.
جزاك الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري وأحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Awab, you have been very kind and very sweet in extending words that I hope someday I deserve. I think I'm among people who have had much larger achievements and much greater success than I. It is indeed a pleasure to be among brothers and sisters who work among common interest and common goal. Awab, could you allow me to share screen so I can start my slides as well?
Yes, definitely.
So before we start the slides, I think the most interesting thing is I'd like to take the opportunity to thank and appreciate Intekhaab Chougle's vision of setting up a platform that has the ability to mutate into something very, very big. I don't think many people understood the concept when it was launched 2 to 3 years ago, but I think his determination and commitment was larger than everybody's ability to foresee what was going to take place. I think for anybody to succeed, you need to look at the larger picture than the picture that stands before you. And Intekhaab did that brilliantly well, sacrificing his own personal time, sacrificing his own personal patience. We Kokanis can be very, very irritating and very, very pushy. And he did manage to swallow a lot of those pills. And I think he's learned that out of experience and out of the company that he keeps. One of his closest allies and friends is Iqbal Vanoo. And Iqbal Vanoo has a decorated history of social service of more than 35 years. And again, the amount of pills that he has swallowed must be larger than a pharmacy that could give you anything that tastes very nasty. Social service is a thankless job. It is unfortunately a thankless job. It is done for the pure interest of community and seeking the acceptance of Allah. I too have learned it the hard way, but I'm sure that what these two have gone through, I've yet to face that. I have to take the opportunity to also give an applause to Awab. Awab Faki is probably one of the most finest young people among the Kokani community, the Muslim community, and maybe even the Indian community as a whole. His commitment and dedication to what he does in education and how him and his wife have developed a very small startup when I met them in 2017 to something which is becoming a formidable educational platform for a lot of schools and people who aspire to be into robotics and electronics and now even coding. So thank you, Awab. Thank you, Neha, for all the good work you do. May Allah bless you and reward you all always. I think one of the first things I'll say before I get into the slide is, as Muslims, we've been geared to be something. We've been asked to deliver something by Allah. And Allah always wants us to succeed. Allah says, do not die until you are in the state of لا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Do not die until you are in the state of Iman, complete Iman. And complete Iman means that you have a holistic life that involves dunya and akhirah. In dunya, one of the things that we need to do is halal earning as a job, halal earning as a trade. And one of the things that we should be doing, and fortunately KCCI does, fortunately some of you do, but the majority of us don't, is we don't share. And I'm not talking about sharing of wealth. I'm talking about sharing of knowledge, sharing of experience, sharing of learning. Because the more we share with people, the more people begin to understand, what really needs to happen. Because if I made a mistake and I suffered, it is wise of me to advise my community, my people, that avoid this area because this area happens to lead to a mistake. But as someone who's listening to somebody else, it is always wise to listen and not ignore. I think sometimes the ability of jealousy and competition gets into the way of learning, that you don't want to, you choose the people you want to learn from. No, I think you should learn from everybody. You should learn from a 3-year-old, you should learn from a 13-year-old, you should learn from a 30-year-old, and you should learn from a 70-year-old. You should learn from a man, you should learn from a woman. You should learn from the pigeon that flies above you. You should learn from the crow when it sits on the tree. You should learn when you walk in a garden. You should learn. You should constantly learn. Your ability to absorb should never stop. If you develop a personality that is hard, that is only willing to listen to people that you like, maybe your best enemy might give you the best learning. Always remember, the amount of effort you put in understanding other things is the amount of effort you will create knowledge within yourself. When we Muslims left Mecca, when the Prophet ﷺ went with his Sahaba to Medina, we went with nothing. And one of the persons who went with nothing was Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu. And he is one of the decorated 10 Sahabas who was given the glad tidings of Jannah while we were still in this dunya, when he was still in this dunya. Abdurrahman bin Auf had very peculiar ways of doing business, very peculiar ways. And one of the things he said, which is, I'm saying this because I got a question that was put on the platform. Awab shared it with everybody. So I will not refer to the question, I'll just talk about the subject. So he says, Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu says, that there are certain rules, certain strategies for business. And he says, one of them, don't borrow money. Don't do business by borrowing money. So the question for an entrepreneur is, okay, if I don't have money, how do I do business, right? Okay, no. He says, go look for opportunity. Which means until and unless you have understood what you are going to do with the fact on the ground, you will not really be able to do it successfully. So Abdurrahman bin Auf went with nothing in Medina and started with almost nothing. And today, alhamdulillah, in the list of the richest people in the world, it is not Steve Jobs. It is not Jeff Bezos. Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu anhu, even after his death, his assets today are worth more than $600 billion. He is even today the most wealthiest man in the world. And one of the reasons why is because he was very charitable, very, very charitable. So I think anybody who wants to think about business, first park your mind away from the concept of where will I get the funding from. Try to think about what is the opportunity. Most of us jump into businesses without realizing the opportunity. Opportunity means understanding economy. Opportunity means understanding customers. Opportunity means understanding what people really want versus what you want to give them. Opportunity means pricing, benchmarking correctly. Opportunity means understanding your competitive landscape. Opportunity means dedication, focus, and complete commitment. So, having said that, as an opening remark, let me start off with today's topic about why we NRI Kokanese living in the Middle East and the number of foreigners they can keep in the country. So why is GCC no longer what it used to be in the 80s and 90s? And I remember Iqbal Vanoo has said this several times in various different platforms over the last 10 years. But I think sometimes we only wake up to the subject when it hits us on our head. So now the subject has hit us on our head and we're all talking about it. Number one, that the issue of coronavirus affected economy globally. As it affected India, it affected the GCC. The GCC, all the governments rely on only one revenue, which is oil. So oil came down from the honeymoon rates of $140 a barrel to $90 a barrel to $70 a barrel to $50 a barrel till it reached around 20, 23 and lesser than that. We all heard about the news of the shale producers in America and Texas selling their oil for zero. In fact, they paid people to buy their oil because it was so much. They couldn't store it anywhere. There was no storage available, so they had to sell it for nothing. All of this affected the GCC economies. The GCC economies are welfare states, which means anything that's developed free. Kuwait, they even have almost free ration. So every month, Kuwaiti citizens can pick up 20 kilos of rice sack, which is basmati rice, wheat, milk powder, etc., etc. So the benefits are so much that the World Bank and IMF once said, this is way back, and I was involved with the World Bank at that time, they said that Kuwait is the only government in the world that has a cradle-to-grave policy of feeding its citizens. Unfortunately, now the situation has become such that it has shocked them to their roots and they can no longer sustain this. So what they're doing is they're trying to see how they can match the demographics, because the number of foreigners are very high in Kuwait and the citizens are around 1.3 million and the foreigners are close to 3.5 million. And the majority of the foreigners are Indian, and we Kokanese are pretty dominating here. Now, once all of this started to trickle in, the deficit that was going on in the national budget of Kuwait since 2016 became larger. In 2016, it was 2.5 billion dinars of deficit. Last year, which is this year, 2019-2020, the deficit of Kuwait's government was 9.2 billion dinars. 9.2 billion dinars is a very large deficit for a country that has just 5 million people living in it. So the obvious is there, and we have to live with the obvious that the GCC is not going to be an opportunity for foreign workers, whether unskilled or skilled, because the locals need to occupy a lot of the spaces. So this topic today, the subject of a discussion today is that GCC, Kuwait included, is not going to be anymore an attractive proposition for young people to consider moving in, because the challenges will be very high. Now, the growth projections that have been shown according to World Economic numbers is, as we go forward till 2023, they're all in the minus. Nothing is going to get better. And if anybody's hoping for it, it's not going to happen. The GCC is not looking great. The world is not looking great. The emerging economies like India are not looking great. Now, this particular slide was put because I have realized during my engagement with a lot of people that everybody thinks that they can jump into entrepreneurship and they can become entrepreneurs. Now, I am somebody who talks about entrepreneurship. I teach entrepreneurship, but today I'm going to actually advise people to be careful about entrepreneurship. Why? Because if you do not have any of these elements, or you're used to something, then for you to be an entrepreneur is difficult. So number one, if you're used to comfort, in Kuwait we have a very comfortable life. There's nothing that's difficult for us. Everything is a button away, everything is a call away, everything is a push away. Okay, and that comfort makes us a little bit lazy. So if you're used to comfort, and if you want to go to India and start being an entrepreneur, it is not going to be easy for you, number one. Number two, if anybody has convinced you that entrepreneurship is fast money, I get in, the next 6 months I'm going to make a lot of money, it's not going to happen. Entrepreneurship is a journey, it's not a stop. You're not supposed to get in and get out. So there's no fast money in entrepreneurship. It comes, but you have to work hard. Awab will tell you a lot about that because he's gone through that journey. Number three, if you have never led a team, if you're not used to leadership, if you don't know how to handle people, how to delegate work, you're always used to receiving orders from your boss while you worked in Kuwait or in the GCC, you're going to have a problem, because leadership is very much an essential need for someone to be an entrepreneur. If you've never done a marketing strategy in your life, you've always worked as an engineer, you worked as someone who's a supervisor, you've never had to do a marketing strategy. Entrepreneurs need to have a marketing strategy. If you can't do it, you will have a problem being an entrepreneur. Number five, if your idea for a startup is just an idea, don't jump into it. Give yourself enough time. Develop that idea into a proper concept. Take a lot of information. Talk to people from the industry. Don't jump into it just because you got terminated and now you need to go to India and start something. Don't start something because you're pushed to start something. Start something because it is the right thing to do and the timing is correct. Number six, you've always worked on plans as a job, but you never had to carry them as actions, which means you are never responsible. As an entrepreneur, as an owner of a new business, you're always responsible. Anything you do, all your actions. Don't let anybody kid you that entrepreneurs have an easy life. No, they have a very stressed life. You need to understand that stress will come to you if you want to be an entrepreneur. Number seven, you're used to saying yes to everything in life. As an entrepreneur, you will need to learn to say no. Because if you say yes to everything as an entrepreneur, you will fail much faster than you can imagine. As an entrepreneur, you need to understand how to say no. If you don't say no, then your business will start falling apart and you will never have the opportunity to establish something that is sustainable and successful. Number eight, you don't want to take risk with your time or money. You always think, let me raise money from investors. Let me raise money from somebody else. No, if you don't risk your money, some of it, most of it, I don't know, and your time, you're not going to be an entrepreneur. Don't count on raising money as a reason of your success. Okay, so you need to understand this very clearly. Number 9, you're not comfortable asking money. You think, oh my God, I've never asked money from anybody. I've always had this very comfortable life in Kuwait, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia. Now I need to ask money from others to start my business. Oh, this is so shameful. There's no shame in asking money as long as your business plan is correct. Okay, as an entrepreneur, raising funds is a common activity done. But if you put your money first and then ask money from others, investors will respect you more. This slide was put just for all of you to understand that entrepreneurship is not everybody's cup of tea. It is not for everybody. You have to understand that. So a typical startup cycle works like this. You know, you start thinking about an idea. You think about something that you will do. You think about what is missing in this world. You write it down, you rewrite it, you make so many different drafts until you're happy with it. Then you make a prototype, you validate it with 100 people. Then you start to create the prototype into a little bit more sensible go-to-market product. You find another co-founder who can add value to your business. You register your business as a company, structure the equity share, then you start looking for funding, etc., etc. So I've just put that as a chart for everybody to look at. Typically, I'll share these slides later with Intekhaab and Awab, and you guys can have a look at it and inshallah benefit from it. The most fascinating startups failures rates in 2020, this year. 90% of the startups failed. 75% of venture-backed startup, which is they had a lot of money from VCs, they failed. Almost 50% of the businesses that started have finished themselves in the 5th year, they closed down. 33% of the startup make it to year 10, and only 40% of the startup turn into profits. 82% of businesses that fail do so because of cash flow problems. Again, I'm putting this slide as a negative, but as a learning for everybody to understand that when you get yourself to a position to be an entrepreneur or a startup founder, bear in mind that you are actually going to work against everything that's normal. That is how you'll be an entrepreneur. And anything that's not normal is something that you will need to create. And whatever you create has to be economically right, has to be marketing-wise right, has to be customer-wise right. So what are your options, right? This is the topic of today. What are your options? What are you going to do if you retire, if you're asked to leave your job, if you're no longer employed? So number 1, you will look for another job, right? This is your first option. Number 2, you'll put money in the bank. And most of the un-Islamic banks are giving you, I think, 8% or something like that, which I don't recommend because it's interest, it's haram. I always recommend to use an Islamic way of using your money. Number 3, you buy a property. So you leave Kuwait, you go there, you know there's a property that can be rented for a particular amount, and you say, okay, if I buy this property, I'll get a monthly rent. So let's assume the cost of living in Bombay is between 40 to 50,000 rupees, which allows you to live comfortably. Then you say, okay, I need to buy this property that gives me 40 to 50,000 rent, and then I will live comfortably. So you have a more balanced life. Number 4, you buy a property because you know that this property, if you hold it for 3 years or more, you can sell it. So you may also earn rent with it, but you can also sell it and make more money. So you bought it for X amount, and in 3 years, it jumped from X to 20% more or 30% more while you're still earning rent. Number 5, you invest in the stock market. My suggestion, only on Islamic approved stocks. There are a lot of websites that can share with you that detail of how to choose Islamic stock, but you need to have some experience on it. You need to have some training on it. I think Intekhaab, inshallah, can arrange for such training through his network of people who are in the stock market for people to learn how to understand trading on the stock market. This is a good way for people to make money every day, every other day, every week, every month, but you need to have dedication of time, and you need to understand how to manage the changes within the stock market. Number 6, you launch a startup idea. You become an entrepreneur. Okay, you've decided that you want to do something. You think your idea is great. You think your proposition is perfect, and you say, I want to launch it. Number 7, you invest in an existing startup to earn a potential exit. You've You know someone who has a good startup, you tell him, hey, listen, are you raising some money? I want to put money with you, and here's my conditions. And you say, I will be a part owner of this startup. Number 8, this is a new one, and inshallah, this is something I'm working on very soon. I'll try to share this with you. I'm trying to launch a peer-to-peer lending Islamic platform. Now, what this does is there's an existing business which is already running, and it has a cash flow coming in and going out, but he doesn't have cash flow enough to expand his business. So you invest your money on either murabaha or musharaka term, where you tell him that, okay, I agree to share with you a certain percentage of your profit. And that will come to you with each transaction, which means every week, which could be every day, which could be every month, which could be every quarter, whatever you agree between yourselves. The setup of it is a murabaha concept, which can be discussed in a later way. This option 8 allows you to become someone who can earn regularly every week, every month, every quarter, etc. These are the 8 options, in my view, that if you're being terminated from your job and you're now supposed to go back to India, if you're retiring, you're supposed to go back to India. I believe these are viable options. Inshallah, there are more options than this, but I think in my limited wisdom, these are the few. And I think if one starts to pay attention to these options, you can choose the ones that are good for you. I'm sure KCCI will develop an engagement module within KCCI, which allows all of you to ask more questions about these options and see whether you can grab some of them or understand them more. And inshallah, I'll definitely be there to try and help you guys as well. On the left of the screen is something about UK Muslims. UK Muslims, inshallah, will become a dominant force very soon because of Islamic finance. They will have an estimated 61 billion pounds contributed to UK economy. And the Muslims themselves will spend around 20 billion pounds buying things in the market. Halal food will be a billion pound industry, and charities, which is zakat, sadaqah, etc., will be worth around 100 million pounds. The reason why I mentioned this slide is, if you look at the right slide shows the state-wise net state domestic produce in India. And if you look at Maharashtra, our state, has the highest, which means we Kokani Muslims living in Maharashtra have the greatest opportunity to develop strong Kokani GDP, to develop strong Kokani commerce. And that is why when Intekhaab launched the marketplace, it makes a lot of sense. But all of us, all of you, need to start engaging by promoting this. So you buy and sell, even if you make it a habit every month that I'm going to use the platform to buy something, so I encourage a Kokani entrepreneur, a Kokani business, etc. UK is having these numbers, and they are much smaller than us. The UK Muslims are not even 10 million, 15 million, all right? We are far bigger than that, okay, as Muslims. I think the marketplace created by KCCI is a huge opportunity to create new Kokani GDP that can participate using Maharashtra's very well-positioned NSDP numbers. And then we as Muslims can participate in India's economy, inshallah, and become people that have the ability to participate in something big. Always remember, you can't grow until you find an opportunity to participate. You can't develop until you find an opportunity to share. The problem I think that we normally have is that we don't share enough. I think we need to start sharing. I think we need to have a conscious effort to try and buy from Kokani businesses. I think we need to have a conscious, social, responsible effort to try and encourage Kokani businesses. Until we do that, until we reach that space, I think we'll just keep talking, and talk does not allow. Remember, we Muslims did not grow because we talked a lot. We Muslims grew because we acted a lot. Okay, we came in a small number from Mecca, a desert of Mecca, went to Medina, prospered in the world. And we didn't just prosper with our sword. We prospered because of trade. And we prospered because we did trade the way Allah has asked us to do, which is halal, which is correct, which is sincere, which is honest, which is thinking about the customer, which is being committed to the price, which is making sure that we are not abusing our power when the markets go down, etc., etc. So I think it's a welcome thought that KCCI is a platform that Allah has allowed us to engage in. Now, what we do with the platform is our responsibility. Okay, you cannot expect things to grow by themselves. Even a seed can be planted once it is, and can grow when it is watered, and can fruit when it's followed. So we need to keep watering and watering until we have a seed that is ready to germinate into a plant, and then we need to support that plant until it is a tree, and it goes on. You know, we have loads of examples in the Kokan community from our fathers and our grandfathers who have developed very large charity organizations as masajids, as madrasas, as you know, charity homes, as donations. I think today in the modern world, we need to use the platforms given to us by society and by technology, and use the skills of people like Awab and others who are, mashallah, well groomed into the world of education and technology. And together, you know, always remember, when you're more interested in what happens for your community, you yourself will grow. The UK economy of Muslims did not grow because everybody started thinking about themselves. They grew because they started thinking for themselves. I think we need to start thinking for each other. And inshallah, may Allah give us the guidance and the hikmah, the wisdom required to understand that in the current circumstances that India is going through, that Muslims are going through, that the GCC is going through, it is hikmah, it is wisdom that will get us through. It is not extra knowledge, it is not intelligent opinions, it is not hardcore suggestions. No, it is hikmah. And hikmah requires a lot of patience, which means I shut my mouth when I don't have to talk, and I don't react to everything that's happening to social media. I start to observe everything, so that I believe that the more I observe, the more I become wise. May Allah keep all of us together. May Allah keep us all interested in each other. May Allah make us those who work for each other for this dunya and akhirah. May Allah give us leaders that will drive us from this dunya to akhirah to Jannah. May Allah keep our young in the right path. May Allah keep our old healthy, safe, and in Iman. May Allah keep all of us blessed with the right Iman. May Allah keep us away from fitna and fasad. May Allah keep us away from fahisha. May Allah keep us away from trends that are shaitan. May Allah keep us with trends that will allow us to grow. May Allah allow us to use the tools that He's given us in this dunya, which is technology, which is social media, which is the brotherhood that we have together, to grow together as a community, to grow together as a tribe, and to be with each other in this dunya and akhirah in Jannah, inshallah. Jazakumullah.
Thank you so much, sir. Jazakallah. Next, with this, we'll be having a Q&A after once we finish the panelists. Now, the structure would be to this audience, we'll be having Intekhaab Chougle Saab, who'll be talking about KCCI and about the business scenario in Kokan and other opportunities. Then we'll be having Iqbal Vanoo Saab, who will be talking about the current scenario in GCC and its impact on Indians. Then, followed by him, we'll be having Mohsin Rakhangi, who will be talking about the opportunities in artificial intelligence, IT solutions, e-commerce, tech, and skill enhancement. So once we finish in this order, we'll be taking up the questions from the audience. We would request if the audience, if they can post their question into the chat room, so that will be much easier for the speaker to pick it up. So it will be much easier for us. So I would be really grateful if you can post your questions into the chat room. So I would request Intekhaab sir to please take the dais and continue with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Abid. Jazakallah, Abid Bhai, for a fantastic presentation, and I think putting the things in the right perspective, globally as well as the Kokan world or Kokani world is concerned. Fantastic numbers to support that, and we all agree that the times are tough right now. Okay, it's not easy, and these are times which nobody had thought of, nobody had planned for. Okay, and I would say truly testing times from Allah. And the situations are such that there are a lot many things which you may plan, to execute, but not necessarily they may go according to your skill set, according to your planning, according to the set of abilities you get on the board, because there is currently in the pandemic situation or maybe post-pandemic situation a lot of things are changing every day. So everything is so dynamic that you will not be able to control. So thank you for highlighting all those things, Abid Bhai, and at the same time, sharing with us what could be the future Islamic opportunities, or what could be the future opportunities. And Alhamdulillah, all of them, or most of them, seem to be right in the light of Islam. So mashallah, and like our religion says that tijarat is the best way of, you know, earning your bread and butter, or way forward. So Alhamdulillah, I think as KCCI also, I as an individual, Intekhaab Chougle, or we as a team, uh, me, Iqbal Bhai, and few others like-minded people, we saw that there was a huge void which was there in the society, in the community, and that needs to be fulfilled. So our forefathers, हमारे बुजुर्गों ने हमें कोकन बैंक दिया, कोकनी एम्बुलेंस दी, इंस्टीट्यूट्स दिए, कॉलेजेस दिए, बट तभी उस दौरान में जितने भी हमारे लोग थे, उन्होंने बिजनेस को शायद इतना encourage नहीं किया. बिजनेस was a matter of choice for that generation. Very few businessmen were there, but then everybody was more professional, either a doctor or an engineer or a shippy. So उस वक्त का उस दौर का जो है फोकस कुछ और हुआ करता था. But what we realized is this is a time when we need to encourage entrepreneurship. So I personally saw that void, and I had a lot of discussions with a lot of like-minded people. And as always, a lot of support came from Iqbal Bhai, and we felt that we need to do something really strong and create a base wherein probably, or create a platform wherein probably we will have like-minded people or Kokti people coming together, okay, to make the most out of this platform. And hence KCCI came into existence. Now we could have we could have just announced it and created a non-professional organization wherein देखते हैं, जैसे कि अक्सर होता है इदारों के साथ में, चार लोग आते हैं, अपनी कुछ थॉट प्रोसेस बनाते हैं, एक एजेंडा बनाते हैं, एक इंस्टीट्यूट बनाते हैं, थोड़े दिन रन करते हैं और हट जाते हैं. But we somewhere, thought that this is gonna be a long-term agenda, and it will not stay with us. Inshallah, the moment it grows, and inshallah, the way it is growing, okay, this is something that needs to be passed on from, one committee to another efficient committee, or one generation to another generation. And like Abid Bhai said, okay, this is a seed which we have put in. Now we all have to come together and make it grow. It's a matter of time, effort, vision, and a lot of hard work coming from each one of us. Not one person can do it. So the idea was to create a chamber of commerce for the community, and hence we started off. And it was not an easy journey, because even to establish this at ROC, it was a good battle of a year. We had 4-time rejection, asking why we are setting up. Nobody, okay, are setting up a chamber of commerce, and what are the reasons, and what is the benefit that we look at ourselves. And we had to answer these kind of questions to ROC, and we, along with we have a appointed company secretary and a legal team who were very helpful, and we fought all those 4 rejections. And we kind of convinced the authorities that we need to start this, because it's not going to be like a 5, 10, 50 people. This will grow on to maybe a 500, 5,000, 10,000 strong organization at some point of time, because it's going to be for the community. So why I'm sharing this is, it's important for everybody to know that it's not just like an idea or a website or a thought or a webinar or just a group created. There is much more which is gone in the background to create what we are looking at right now. So once we understand the importance of it, I think anybody and everybody who feels a little responsible towards this initiative can come forward and make a difference. And that's what we are looking out for. As a founder, as a a dreamer, I would want people to come forward and say, okay, let's do this, and this is what needs to be done. This is the moment of a lot of changes, and this is the time also for innovation and new ideas. So I personally, KCCI is a platform, okay, where we expect people to come and join, come with ideas, make the ideas grow, get the association from the organization, it's an organization or the community itself, create the opportunity for the community people, and that is all that we wanted under KCCI, So from a KCCI, Kokti Chamber of Commerce, okay, Kokti Chamber for Commerce and Industry, when it was registered at ROC as a Section 8 company, the idea was very clear. It's a non-profit organization. So, we are just the facilitators. But when we say we are just the facilitators, I think that itself was missing in the community. We have intelligent people, we have brilliant people, brilliant minds, we have a network which is like a global thing, but we do not have some common platform where everybody can come together and probably bond and take it to the next level. So I think that was the whole idea. We just wanted to do this, we wanted to create a platform and make it grow from here onwards. And classic example of the growth or coming together I will give is the marketplace. Just 1 month back we created, and like Abid Bhai said, okay, it's the need of the hour, and we saw the results. Where are we? I mean, like within 35 days, we are 5,000 plus, 5,000 close to 5,000 members on the marketplace, and a lot of trading happening. A lot of personal messages I keep getting, wherein people are thankful that we created this platform, and a lot of transactions are happening on a day-to-day basis. Plus, we have come to know about so many entrepreneurs with them, which we were not even aware of. Okay, like these exist. They were putting in the efforts. They were putting hard work. They were probably ideating a lot of things. And Alhamdulillah, look at where we are. So that's just one example that I'm giving, because marketplace is a very small thing that we've done, and that's given us the results. So inshallah, KCCI as an organization, as a team, has a lot of plans. We're working on a couple of things. We would want ideas to come from you as well. We would want support to come from you as well. And like I always say in my post, come join us. Once we probably join in, we become a team, a larger team, and then we will see how best we can utilize this platform for everybody's benefit. But yes, the core things are to assess the opportunities, the global opportunities, like highlighted in the presentation by Abid Bhai, okay, and aligning ourselves to those opportunities, because I think like one of the slides said, one of the fastest growing business will be halal food business. Okay, so I see immense opportunity in that area, and why not? Because food is something which is required, or the most fastest moving item or commodity, I would say, okay, which is there, and there are so many innovations in that field. So there are smaller things also. There are larger things as well, which we can come together and analyze, assess, and think to take it to the next level. So that's all KCCI is all about. Like I always say, it's by a Kokani, for the Kokani, and it has to be made stronger by all of you joining in, coming together, and that's where we are putting the effort. So the team has been doing every possible thing that we should do, everything that we can do, and rest is all up to you. It's most important that we come together, bring our strength, and just keep going, keep moving. Inshallah, everything will fall in place. So I think I've exceeded my time limit. Thank you so much for being patient with me. Thanks, Awab. Jazakallah.
We have one question from this audience, like, do KCCI provide seed funding for startup at this moment?
Awab, what I suggest is I'll take this question, but let the panelists complete their views, on the webinar, and then maybe we can start the question answer.
Sure, definitely.
Okay. I'll be happy to answer that. I will answer that, but let the panel's introduction be completed, then we can take it up.
The next panelist, we would be having Iqbal Vanoo staff over here. So, please.
Thank you all. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a Friday and nice beginning. for KCCI, and to all of us that we started immediately after Juma prayer, where we are been asked to go out in the market and look for our risk. And here we are to look for our risk in future, inshallah. I would like to straight away go to the topic where I would like to put focus on, that we are returning to India as retirees, as people who have lost their jobs. And after we go back, what do we do? In past years, what I have observed, that many people who went back either went and put their money into real estate, or they put their money into banks, as they put their money into, some people into stocks who were very familiar with the stocks. But most of us sat on our money doing nothing. Majority of the people out of that, we always try to look for the 5% or 10% people, who are well-to-do, who have got enough savings during their working time, and now they have gone back, they have built a nice house, and part of the money they have parked into land, or part of the money they have parked into real estate, and they are earning on that, and they are happy on that. But we ignore the 90% of the people who worked in the Gulf for many years, but when they go back, they have no savings. They are again hand to mouth if they do not get another job back into the Gulf. Now, since the market is getting saturated, and not only getting saturated, now the jobs are getting, people are removed from the jobs, people are being terminated, people are sent back. The local economies are in bad shape, as Abdullah told already. And because of that, even the GCC countries, we can't blame them for that. That at one time when the oil was selling at $140 a barrel, that time they had huge projects, and the huge project actually has driven the world economy, not only the economy of the GCC, but the world economy. And we were the beneficiaries of that. The Indians were the beneficiaries of that because they preferred the Indian manpower to come here and work for those companies. Now the situation is reversed. So we Indians will be the first one who will be sent back, because we were in the position, we were enjoying the high echelon of the jobs in the Gulf market, and now since the people will be going back, then what to do next? And that question right now we are trying to sit here and answer, that what do we do next? Now, the people who are on the top echelon, the 10% of the Kokanese who have earned enough money and now they have gone back and they have got enough thing. And plus they may be having ideas also of what to do for the rest of the time. But there are 80 to 90% Kokanese who do not have any idea what they are going to do once they go back, because the new visas will not be available to them. And then what do they do in that case? Now, people tell them that, okay, start something, but what to start? What are the skills? Most of the people who are going back would be the blue-collar people, or the drivers, or the people working in companies as clerks. Those kind of people, they have no idea whatsoever that what are they going to do when they go back. Now, when the things are thrown up to them, they always look for the high kind of businesses. Oh, I want to open up a shop. I want to open up a small industry. I want to open up a real estate construction work. But we ignore a lot of other opportunities which are in the offing, and where they can be successful because that's in their blood. They have been watching it. If they have not been doing it, they could succeed into that. Like for example, the agro farming, we have left it and we have given it to the Qataris, and those people are the ones who are now working in our fields. But this was the originally thing we did. And we can very easily go back to that. We can go to the agro farming, we can go to the goat farming, we can go to other small scale industry, home industries. Like for example, we make papad, we eat papad a lot, we eat achar a lot. We have a lot of things for our home food. There are a lot of ladies in the Gulf who have been producing this and selling it locally. I'm aware of is happening in Kuwait. There are a lot of ladies working from home, supplying this stuff to the people against orders. When we go back, we totally ignore our women folk. We do not utilize their skills into growing the family income. We should look at that opportunity, that what our ladies are good at, what we are good at, what can we do. Take example of a tea seller, tea vendor. Have ever anybody thought that I could open up a tea stall? I could be a tea vendor? No, that thought doesn't go to us. But you know that a tea vendor earns 5,000 to 10,000 rupees a day in a place like I've seen it in Bombay or Pune. He sells tea worth 5,000 to 10,000. And how much that he produces it for? Maybe few thousand. So the profit is immense, but we don't think about it. So we got to open up our mind, think out of the box, not think about the normal routine businesses that we have been doing, like people have been doing the katta business or the mango business or teakwood business, this kind of businesses. Think out of the box, go out of that. Think of your capacity to enter into business. If I got 1 lakh, I should enter into a business which is around that. If I got 10 lakhs, I should enter into business around that. If I don't have any money, okay, I should start with something which doesn't require, which can sustain me for a long time with that small amount of money which I got. And then think and develop your businesses. And there is growth in every small thing also. We don't have to look big. We can look from the small point of view and then grow big into that. Our Prime Minister has already said that he was a tea vendor, he was a tea seller, okay, and he is Prime Minister of India today. So don't think about businesses into a small things, okay. Think of always small can grow into big, okay, and from there onward you grow. And as far as KCCI is concerned, Intekhaab has been putting a lot of efforts. Our idea was to provide a platform to the Kokanis where they could come and then they could join the community, and then we could see that how could we facilitate them into growing into whatever they want to do in a way. Amit bhai very rightly has pointed out to us that what are the shortcomings because of which the businesses fail, okay, which is normally is overlooked. The cash flow problems, the sustainability problem, which are the main causes of failures of the businesses. And for that, there are experts now in our community. Those experts, their services can be utilized, they can guide our people, but it should be done in a methodic and in a way where people don't start expecting things out of KCCI. People should start thinking that this is a platform where I join this train, where I enter into this train and where I get on up to this train. Not think that, I take this train to my village, to my house, to my place, where this train should pass from there. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity of talking to you. And inshallah, I'll be always available to you whenever the community needs me, whenever you people need me. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your words, sir. The next, what we'll be having, Mr. Mohsin Rakhangi Saab, he'll be discussing about the recent technologies topic. So, yes, Mohsin, so the next, everyone is eager to hear you. Thank you. If you can unmute your mic. Yes, you have unmuted, sir. Still, we cannot hear you. Yes, sir, your mic is unmuted. You can, please. No, sir, we cannot hear you. No. Your mic is unmuted, sir. I think there's some. By the time the audience can just post your questions in the chat room. In fact, like many of the questions of Abdullah Thakur Sahab have already answered into the chat room. So let's make the chat room really effective, because it's really impossible like to have the 100 audience if they can get the opportunity to speak. So it will be very difficult. If the audience can put their questions into the chat room, our panelists and speaker would really love to take it. So once Mr. Mohsin sir is done. Already many of them, like 60-70% question have been answered by Abdullah Thakur Sahab. So let's make the chat room really effective. So by the time we can resolve the technical glitches, what Mr. Mohsin sir is facing it.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay, can
yes,
you hear me now?
yes, it's very clear, Mohsin Saab. Please, all yours.
Sorry, actually, it was another. Okay. Um, ربي لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. First of all, I'm thankful to KCCI for inviting to be a panelist. It's an honor to be on such a wonderful platform and to be associated with the part of this discussion. Having a total of 22 years work experience and specifically 15 years of online education industry in Kuwait, I strongly believe that there are so many options for an individual to benefit nowadays. But I'll put my perspective mainly from the online education industry. There is no limit to learn new skills and use them for increasing your knowledge and your income. As we've seen that as the world has moved to take stock of COVID-19's impact and after its aftermath, we can't help but stress on the importance of securing alternate sources of income. Every industry is feeling the challenges thrown up by the pandemic. Revenues and cash flows have started, and this has unfortunately resulted in job losses, furloughs, and pay cuts. We're also seeing a growing number of NRIs returning to India, and it is less likely that most of them would ever return back again. So the basic question is, what are your options in India for the future as a retiring or returning NRI? Predominantly, people have been returning to India for personal reasons, like after losing a job or parents getting older, death in the family and family responsibilities, growing children, especially when it comes to daughters. So we've been seeing a lot of people returning back to India. But in this topic, there are two very important words in this topic, that is retiring and returning. So when we talk about retiring, it means that there is a factor which an individual's limitations may be present, such as age limitation or health limitation or maybe the interest. So, but if we say that a retired person by age is still willing to work, then it means that we're talking about using the retiree's experience. Now, that experience could be in a specific field that can be converted into either a transfer of knowledge or a prospective job creation. So by transfer of knowledge, I mean that the person could engage in training others and could charge a fee for it. For example, let's say when I have to go down to a very small level, a garage mechanic having a good hands-on experience of branded luxurious cars in the Middle East and returning to India can now transfer his knowledge by training youngsters on handling and troubleshooting such cars. Because we see now all the new cars that are available in Middle East are now there in India. When I will say that the retiree wants to engage in a prospective job creation, that means that he could start a garage by himself. That would not only employ himself, but also others. When we're talking about returning NRI, that means now we're considering we're not considering any limitations and the individual is planning to do something. That means he can learn or upgrade his skills so that he can find a good job or start a business in India. Now, doing a business, returning NRI should always focus on their business options based on factors such as area of their relocation, amount of their savings that they have, the business analysis that they have to conduct. They have to see also whether this business has been flourishing or it's affected by recession in the past. And how good is his community outreach? Means how much does he know people in the social networking or the commercial professional networking on his side. So when we talk about business or returning NRI, I should understand and also learn technology that helps him to be more presentable and professional at the same time. Learning thing about your business needs, like you need to use internet, you need to use how to source in Google, computer softwares like Microsoft Office, if you want to prepare letters, presentations, invoices, how to create websites and online stores, how to communicate, and all these things are needed. Like even if you want to build a website, there are several online tools free of charge that you can use them to build your website. A lot of training is available nowadays on the websites. If you go to many YouTube or many professional developers have all the information related to website building so that you can have your own, rather than learning a code. Nowadays nobody goes into putting a code in order to generate a website. Now it's all, as you type, the codes in the background gets built up easily by itself. So there are opportunities. I'll just give an example of how people have faced issues, and how they have been able to overcome that. Just recently, like, in March when the lockdown began, I had to stop the Qari Sahab that used to come home daily to teach Quran classes at home. So I just wanted to avoid the infection of coronavirus. So I also realized that everyone in my building and vicinity did the same thing. This was now a sudden financial loss to the Qari Sahab. As an experiment, what I did is I gave him an old laptop to the Qari Sahab and got him trained on how to use Zoom meeting. The impact of this was, it's made him very happy that he not only got all the building, the students that he was teaching online to my kids and others, but he even got more, and he earned better than before. So such ideas have been working for people now amidst COVID as well. The one good impact of the online education has been that many individuals are good at some subject taught in educational institutions, but uh, they they don't know how to approach. So now many of the people who wanted to have their kids taught through online education, individuals have started their own tutoring through Zoom, through Moodle, through Microsoft Teams, Skype. So there are so many free learning ways that now a person can be engaged in order to provide online tutoring and coaching to students. Now we all know that how much we pay when it comes to online. I think Akash or something that I've heard in Mumbai, Merit Nation. Just today morning I got a call from Merit Nation that they do the online teaching apart from what is taught in school. So there is the point is that the online training did exist before, but the realization and impact of using this technology has exponentially increased, thereby opening doors for everyone to participate. Teachers and trainers can now set up their own learning platforms and offer courses for free. There are many free learning management system software that can be installed on cloud as well. So there's no need to have a system running, a server, and things like that. Now they can just be on cloud, and they can always connect to them. There are other things that are, let's say an NRI. I can give another example of a landscape engineer who lost his job in Dubai. He returned to India to start his own training center in the field of landscape engineering. So along with training, he also worked on many local international projects, and now he visits many GCC countries as a consultant for landscaping projects. So things that you already have those skills, you can improve, you can add more things to it and offer to them, to people. Even I can say about low-paid drivers who were returning back to India can now find opportunities with the private cabs like Ola, Uber. There are food delivery like Zomato, package delivery jobs becoming the new global trend. So many people who have returned from Gulf, I found them that they have been going through these aggregators. So this is a good option for covering livelihood expenses. Such individuals can support and increase even tourism in Kokan region, because we have a very good tourism region. As for the training, as I said, that there are many offering training videos, and there are many free courses from Harvard, edX, Google, Coursera. So great learning. So these companies, what they've done is they've offered many of the courses for free, which was before for a charge. So and even some of them even give certifications when you complete a free course. So this is getting now globally that people can learn from anywhere, use technology, use online education, and benefit from it. So as Abid Bhai said earlier, that you must learn, because that's what the key word is, that if you learn, only then you can earn. I mean, of course you can earn in many other ways, but if you learn well, then you will earn well as well. KCCI has been a forefront in leading initiatives of helping people coming up with the KCCI marketplace. It's a good platform to showcase your business, build professional relationships for mutual benefits. Tapping opportunity on the right time and transforming it into a business it can always happen, provided the people are serious and goal oriented and patient as well. There was one Qurbani-Bakra.in that was launched by KCCI. It was a very good project. People appreciated, and this tells us that there is an opportunity that can be encashed, even if it is for a small time, and there will be a good reasonable profit earned, as we're talking about halal profit. So definitely these kind of initiatives must be taken into consideration. So I thank the KCCI team for bringing up this platform, and that's all I have to say, and I hope the best for everyone to start working for a business or looking out for a job. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much, Mohsin Saab. Thank you. So now we'll be having a Q&A session. I'll be putting in all the panelists on rule for it. Like maximum of the questions have been answered into the group. Few of the questions related to KCI would be answered right away by Intekhaab Saab.
Yeah, so we can start off by taking the question that you were asking when I was, just kind of introducing KCCI as a concept. So maybe we can take that as a starting point. Some gentleman had posted a question.
Yeah, he had a question like how KCCI can really help him in crowdfunding. And one other, like in addition to it, one other question was like how like KCCI would really help them in knowing government schemes and so on, or in connecting with Government of India for any startup schemes.
So these are multiple questions you're clubbed in together, but then let me take one question at a time, So about this, let's start off from crowdfunding platform. So like Abid Bhai has answered in the chat itself, he is currently working on some crowdfunding platforms or ideating some platforms. So I think we will wait for the input to come from Abid Bhai. But yes, it is a very doable thing, in the West. A lot of ideas, a lot of businesses are supported through successful crowdfundings. We can look at that as a community, okay? But for a crowdfunding platform, it has two sides to the coin. It's not only the people who have ideas or businesses who should come in on the platform, but it's also the potential investors who need to be a little proactive and come forward and show interest that they would be happy to analyze or assess these ideas for their merits, and then accordingly, as per their interest, pump in money, because crowdfunding is a very interesting concept, and I think it is definitely a good idea for our community. So that's one.
Intekhaab, if you just let me explain a little bit about crowdfunding, would you let me? Yeah. Okay. So crowdfunding is basically a concept which has two sides to it. First is support, and second is invest. So one of the largest crowdfunding platform in America basically has a lot of supporters. So for example, Intekhaab launches a new idea, and the new idea is he's launching a new set of glasses. His idea is to launch a new set of glasses where he can watch a movie on the glasses itself while he's walking across it. This is an idea. This is not a product, it's an idea. I like the idea, so I will support him. How will I support him? I will pledge 1,000 rupees with nothing in return. There's no shares. Okay, it's a support. You have to understand how crowdfunding works and why it is successful, because the community has to also support good ideas. It's not always about return on investment. So for example, there is a young girl in a Kokani house or a village or a city which has an idea to create, like Iqbal Bhai said, a new concept of lijjat papad kind of a thing. She puts in the idea, she presents the idea, she shows it to everybody, and now she wants support. Okay, all of us can say, okay, I commit 1,000 rupees. Or somebody says, I pledge 25,000 rupees. But then there's the other side. The other side is Intekhaab is also watching this girl's presentation, and Intekhaab says, I think I'm more interested in being part of this. So she will say that, okay, if you want to invest, then you will have to invest more than 5 lakh rupees. So there is a barrier. So when you invest, there is a barrier. When you support, there is no barrier. It could be 100 rupees, it could be 1,000 rupees, it could be 10,000 rupees. So as a society, if we want to make this work, we have to constantly be supporting people. It's a good act. It is really a good act. So that way, what will happen is the initial cash flow that the business needs will come through this support. So crowdfunding means support as well as investment. So that is something that I'm working on. And then once, inshallah, we have it ready, I Intekhaab will be probably able to present that to you guys as well. But I think the most important thing is exactly what Intekhaab has done. He's created a community. He's got the platform. He's created the community. The larger numbers we get inside this community, you can do a lot of ideas, crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending, workshops. To do is not a problem. Always remember that. KCCI can bring the best of products to you, but if we don't have the numbers, then what happens is it fizzles out very quickly. So we need to make sure that the first strategy that everybody attending this call has to achieve is to grow this numbers of let's say if it's 5,000 now on the platform, let's target 50,000. How do we do with 50,000, et cetera, et cetera. And then you see how crowdfunding works. And then you see how peer-to-peer lending works.
Absolutely. So because we talk of business and we talk of opportunities, everything is in and around those numbers. And I think first and the foremost thing is we need to come together. Okay, that's the crux of everything. Coming together in higher numbers will open doors to many things. Okay, so having said that, I will take the second part of the question, Nawab. The gentleman also wanted to know if KCCI funds ideas. The answer is yes and no. No, because directly we do not. Okay, but yes, because what we can do is we do connect you to potential investors. Okay, if the idea is good, deserving, and has been worked upon in a very professional manner, we do connect you to the investors. At the same time, what we also do is a lot of you must have missed out on the one-day workshop that KCCI did at Taj. Najib Mullah, the chairman of Kokan Bank, and Asif Dadan, the vice chairman of Kokan Bank, they were very supportive and they pledged their support to KCCI or through KCCI to the community, saying that any entrepreneur who requires a loan for their project and has a completely developed project in professional manner, they will be happy to support the project by funding it, by lending money to it. And in the past, Kokan Bank has kept their commitment, and I think more than 2 projects have been funded through the loan channel, okay, which were proposed by KCCI to Kokan Bank. And yes, we may not directly be funding the ideas, but we will help because all of us over here have some kind of experience, some kind of network. We can definitely guide you or open up some kind of channel for you, wherein maybe on the merit of your project, you will be able to procure the funds. And third is about the government guidance. No, as of now, we don't provide any government guidance, but yes, the idea is to do that. But for that, we will also at the same time, like I said, every coin has 2 sides. So we need experts coming on board. Once we have the set of experts who are there to guide, I think guiding on the government, whatever benefits are to every business, like an agricultural business, what benefits it will bring to, or manufacturing business, what benefits it will bring to. So the experts will definitely help or guide or advise the budding entrepreneurs. So I think for everything, what we need is we need a right team of experts. And for that, again, I come back to the first thing. We need to join hands. The experts need to come forward and say, okay, here is my expertise and I would want to do this for the community. And that's where we'll be able to take that forward to the next level. So I guess, Awab, I must have answered all the aspects of your questions.
Yes. We have a question from one of the entrepreneurs to Abdullah Thakur Saab. It's regarding about one is what regarding crowdfunding that is already cleared. One is regarding the percentage, like once you have a crowdfunding, you have to give an equity to investor. So how does it really work? So if Sir can give us some light towards it.
Okay, so if you are referring to the part of support, which is pledging a support, then the only thing you get back is appreciation. So you get an appreciation note from the entrepreneur, and inshallah KCCI to say that you're one of the supporters of the project. So there's no tangible physical return. So your 1,000 rupees, your 10,000 rupees was a support. That was the case in the first place. And it helped the entrepreneur with the initial seed funding that he or she needed. Now, if you are referring to the investment part, then the entrepreneur would have already decided what is the value of the company. So let's say he or she, and they will raise the equity according to that. And based on that, they'll tell you, if you invest so much, this is the amount of shares you will get.
Okay. So we have Mr. Abdul Rahman Patel. He has a quite a good experience into medical field in pharmaceuticals. So he's very keen, like how KCCI could really help him in setting up some, in case of pharmaceuticals, if they can bring him some support, either in terms of financial, either in terms of planning, in setting up some pharmaceuticals in Kokan village. He has like approximately he has 25 years of experience in pharmaceuticals. So he's about to like come back to Kokan area. In some other way, like KCCI can really guide him in what he can really work on pharmaceuticals in Kokan area for the same.
So, the way I look at it, Awab, he will have to come back with a plan telling us what exactly he wants to do, because it's a very random question, He wants to just set up a pharmacy in Kokan region. So what is the kind of expertise he's looking out from KCCI? Does he need to do a project planning? Does he need funding? Does he need, market reports? What is the kind of information that he requires? So he needs to be a little more specific about his requirement, and then probably, we'll be able to provide him with that kind of expertise. Should not be a problem.
We have Nadeem Patan who would like to put this question through his mic. Nadeem, you have been given the right for the same. You can unmute yourself. Yes, please, Nadeem.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you for such a wonderful platform. And it's good to see Intekhaab bhai, Iqbal bhai joining this a very good initiative. My question is to Mr. Abdulla. Actually, one of your presentation was showing some statistics on a percentage of failure, which is really very scary. How to overcome this fear of failure?
Nadeem, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah in His holy book has mentioned the azab and Jahannam so many times. And the reason for that is that we change our ways and head towards the other side, which is Jannah. And for that, we have to follow the rules and regulations and the principles and the guidelines of the religion and the Prophet ﷺ's Sunnah. In business, you fail because you ignore the fundamentals. Very simple. In business, you fail because you get carried away with excitement. Most people launch their businesses, and when they raise the first set of funds, they're so happy that they forget the fact that they have to consistently deliver. Like even if you take a major successful story in India, Paytm. Paytm is actually a very big loss-making company. So it's not actually making profits, it's actually making a lot of losses. If the Chinese investors haven't invested in these big names that are so-called success stories. So the idea of failure is large in the startup world globally, not just in India, globally, in America also, huge failures, is because entrepreneurs generally don't have enough experience. They have great ideas, they have good commitment, but they don't have experience. Like the gentleman who just asked Intekhaab about launching a pharmaceutical business in the Kokan region once he's back. Now, Intekhaab's answer was correct. He said, I don't know how to respond to that. That's like, I go to Intekhaab and saying, Intekhaab, I'm short of money. Let's go rob a bank. So Intekhaab said, okay, first of all, which bank? And why do you want to rob a bank? Why don't we think about something else? I think when you think about an idea, try to first go through the details. Most entrepreneurs, because I do a lot of lectures and I come across this, they don't go through the details. They go through the idea, number one. Number two, once you've finished the details, validate the idea, which means ask 100 people about that idea. whether they like the idea, whether they're willing to pay for the idea, whether it is a market needed idea, etc. So failures are large because there are some silly rookie mistakes made by entrepreneurs. But the ones who succeed, they're obvious, they're clear, that they cover all the bases.
Thank you very much. One more thing related to this. Now, sharing the ideas. Sometimes there is a risk even in the sharing ideas, because there is a fear that somebody will steal your idea.
Yeah, that's a very common question, Nadeem. Really, it's a very common question. Between Intekhaab, me, and Iqbal Bhai, we've shared so many ideas, and alhamdulillah, none of us managed to steal any one of the ideas. simply because I know that what Intekhaab can do, I can't do. And Iqbal Bhai knows that what I can do, he cannot do. Now, the idea of being careful of how you present your idea. You should always be careful about how you present your idea. You should make sure that the idea is presented in a manner by which you don't give away everything. Always remember, success in a business is not from the idea, it's from the application. So if you understand the application, well, don't talk about it. Just talk about the idea, number one. Number two, you can only discuss the idea with people that are important to the idea, which is either go and think, oh, this guy has a lot of money, let me go discuss it with him. This is a genuine problem. What you're saying is actually a very genuine problem. People, skim off ideas. They fail, but the idea is that they skim off your idea. If your idea is big enough, large enough, I think Intekhaab on his team has somebody who's a lawyer. He can draft for you a document that secures your idea from a perspective of a discussion, which is called a non-disclosure agreement, NDA or an NCDA, and you can use the normal NCDA. I think KCCI can produce a sample format that most entrepreneurs can use, but this is a good, very, very good question, and KCCI should, inshallah, be able to resolve that, unless Intekhaab wants to take away your idea.
Jazakallah khair.
Nadeem, I understand where you are coming from, and like Abid Bhai said, ideas can be thought by many people, but the crux of it is the ability to execute. That's one. And second is, whenever you want to probably discuss something which is very professional and you're serious about it, there is absolutely no harm in doing it in a professional way, which is by backing it up with an NDA, because in every walk of our life, at least we follow that. Any technology idea, if we're discussing with anybody, it could be a rookie as well, at least my organization gets an NDA done. Abid Bhai and Iqbal Bhai also follow the same kind of routine, and most of us in the professional environment, we just do that, right? Because we understand that every idea will have a lot of implications in terms of finance and everything. So you can be a little safe while you are discussing it with some people professionally, and you will never discuss any idea with anybody who's your opponent. So like Abid Bhai said, like-minded people or anybody who would probably only add value to the idea will be having a discussion with them. So it's completely up to you.
Thank you so much. So I think we have almost taken all the questions from the chat room as well. Like the saying is like innovation distinguish between a leader and follower. And my dear colleagues, we have a Kokani stalwart as an attendee. In fact, we are so glad to have Dr. Zahir Saeed Saab with us. So we would like to hear a few words from your end, please.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Sorry, I joined a little late. I was in a Quran class, which was giving a discourse on Siratul Nabi. Whatever I heard, one thing, the last point that somebody said, ke ideas jo hai, somebody will take away my ideas. Look, let's not have that kind of an attitude. There is a space for everyone. I'll tell you my own experience. I was probably the first radiologist in the city of Mumbai who was staying in US and came back and practicing at multiple places. So when I went to Hajj, I asked some of the young ones who were about to start the practice to sit in my consulting rooms in 3 places. And people were surprised. Sale pagal ho gaya, iski practice le jayega. It never happens like that. If I'm good in my work, if I give a quality in my business, people will come to you. You create a brand for yourself. If you start worrying, if I share the knowledge, somebody else will take it up. Let him take. No, we are here to help our own Kokani community. Let that be multiplied in many ways. The other thing that I wanted to specify today is this is an era of personnels who are looked into, who are multiple skilled. You just can't have a single skill. I'll give you an example. If a hospital wants to appoint someone today, say at reception counter, they would like to know whether this gentleman knows how to attend to the laboratory, how to attend to an X-ray room, or how to attend to a sonography. If he has got multiple experiences, he walks in and he walks in with a huge salary. So this is the era of skills. You may be highly qualified, but if you are not skilled, you had it. For example, Iqbal Bhai will agree with me. I have seen students from engineering section who have done their polytechnic and then doing engineering from second year onwards. They are better qualified people because they have done floor job. They are ideally suited for floor job because they have got a background in polytechnic and then they have done engineering. Now, what engineering students do by and large is they take an academic assignment or they do a table job. That era is getting over. Everyone has to change. As far as Kokan is concerned, I remember many years ago when Madhu Dandavate announced that it will be a Kokan railway. And in that period of time, those people are not alive today who were the important people in Kokan Bank. I had suggested to them to open your doors of Kokan Bank and do some due diligence so that your own people get employed on the railway stations, because there are many utilities that are required to be done, some small shops and so on and so forth. Group yourself together, give some funding so that they get into it. You need to book yourself before anybody else comes. Now in Kokan, you have to do a survey. Some of you are stalwarts here. Kokan is likely to be a tourism destination. It can't be as good as Goa, of course, because it has got an advantage. But then an airport is likely to come somewhere in Sindhidur. So more tourism is likely to flow. So what other activities you can create for tourists to entertain them? So you have to do it much in advance than anybody else does it. The other thing that this organization which you have started is incredible. I appreciate and congratulate all of you. Start the cooperative system. You look at the Western Maharashtra, they are a success story because it's a cooperative system, and then you can get a lot of people into it. The benefits, the dividends are given to a lot of people. You are able to create a lot of jobs, and you have to enter that. Now, for example, post-pandemic and in pandemic, there are two businesses which are doing fairly well. One is my fraternity. They are doing exceptionally well because they have crossed all the boundaries of ethics. They are charging left, right, center. Very unfortunate. But it will. This segment will continue to grow. Government is planning to spend more of their GDP on health and education. Now, new education policy has come. From 3% of the GDP they are going to spend, 6% may not be now. Abhi government kangal hai, lekin paisa aayega. So these are two areas where you can also be an entrepreneur in the field of education, where you can impart skill-based education. Healthcare is going to be in a big way. In remote areas of Kokan, they are going to set up some centers, medical centers, which are full-fledged in many sense. And there will not be many takers. Nobody wants to go to the villages. If you see the topography of Kokan with respect to medical fraternity, you will hardly find MBBS doctors there. You either find BOMS or BHMS because the best of them don't want to go. So if a cooperative system is started by medical fraternity, for example, you are able to reach the healthcare as well as it will create a business enterprise. All in all, Kokan has got rich human resources which are based in the Gulf countries. Take example of Iqbal Bhai or Hamare Thakur Sahab. There are many of them. I was having a Zoom meeting the other day with one of the most successful Kokani gentlemen based in United States. His name is Afzal Modak, and he's going to start in a big way. He has started already in your Navi Mumbai, IT related, and he has entered a market where he has realized, okay, digital platform for in every aspect, for the farmers, for the have-nots and all that, unorganized sector. He is entering that field, and he has a joint venture with a Turkish firm. So he was talking to us. He says India is the ultimate destination. Everybody wants to come to India. However, people may give them gali do unko, ye karo, but at the end of it, they want to come to India. So he says there are very many people want to come. Why? Some of the elite Kokanis who are based outside India and would like to, in their, I can't call them retirement, but in a phase where they are very close to retirement, they can contribute in a big way and they can also get involved into business. It's not charity, because business is business at the end of the day. So he was, when he was talking, he was phenomenal, and he said a lot of things that are happening. So I think Kokan also means it is Panvel is a part of Kokan, Navi Mumbai is a Kokan, Mumbai is a Kokan, Palghar. These are areas which are already kind of developed. You can have your centers of business here and satellite centers in the remote Kokan. So you'll be able to provide jobs to people who are there. You did not have transmigration. Now, Mumbai is going to be a difficult destination for people to come from elsewhere. Migrants, I say, not from abroad, but from Kokan se koi aa raha hai, Karat se aa raha hai, Satara se aa raha hai, wo nahi hoga abhi. In Bombay, there are a lot of problems now for another 2 years. Having said that, I think this organization which you have created, I'm sure the kind of people are there. You need to have little more exposure in India on a wider scale. There should be a visibility. You have done a lot of good groundwork. Fantastic. I'm very satisfied. But at the end of the day, your visibility on various platforms is required to be done. This is a good beginning. Maybe if you can inform now how to get into this visibility process. Catch hold of NGOs. Not all and sundries. Pick and choose. There are NGOs who are doing good work with respect to giving financial aid to people who matters. There are NGOs who are doing a lot of work in the field of education. There are NGOs who are doing a lot of work on religious background. People who are trustees of various madrasas or your dargahs or masjids. Some of them are loaded with money, but they are looking forward to where it can be done. So if you create a platform and get these people on the board with your ideas, once the ideas go in their mind, and people like you, Intekhaab, Iqbal Bhai, and the other gentlemen, many of you have a track record of good governance. You are an achievers in your own base. You have got some very good ideas which are time oriented, very specific to the present times. I think you will do wonders. A little more visibility, yes. And if anything I can contribute, not as a president of Anjuman Islam, but as an individual also, as a person who has a lot of passion to do something for Kokan, you can use me as a soldier. I can be with you at the background. But this is a good idea that you did today. And I had attended one of your conventions in Taj. I think that was organized very well. I was very impressed. The kind of narration that you had. Ji?
That was the launching of our KCCI.
Yeah, KCCI. Yes, and yes. You had invited me. You were kind enough. Yes. Yeah, you were kind enough. But I was very fascinated. See, you have to look to be seen as a professional. If you want to get more people on the board, नहीं तो ये typical कोकनी लोग जमा हो गए 4-5 कुछ idea आ गया, they want to do something, they may not, but that was a platform. That is how. I mean, I wish more people could have come, but it was the beginning. You think on those lines, and whenever you need some kind of connectivity, that if you want me to speak to people who matter, I don't mind. I can do that job for you. As a boy on the reception or a desk table, I'll be able to help you. I'm very happy. But I could not join you. I was in a Quran class. So I felt that I should do it. Yeah. And I wanted to be quiet and a listener to you. Sometimes दो चीजें होती है ना इसमें, एक समी भी होता है, खतीब भी होता है. So you tend to be a sami.
At times, because you're always
thank you for.
You're always
change the role.
So.
Sometimes you need to change the role here and there to get into somebody else's shoes and see how it is.
It is an honor for people like us that we have a listener like you.
No. You are so kind. You are so kind. So kind. And wish you all the very best. All the very best. Thank you for giving me some space. Thank you.
Jazakallah, sir. Jazakallah. Because it is said like before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. And like when you become a leader, success is all about growing others. And you have been keeping examples, guys. Thank you so much for being with us. You have led our webinar to our next level. Thank you. Jazakallah, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Next, we have Mr. Suhail. Suhail, I would love if you can, I have given a permission to you unmute yourself. If you can put your question to the panelist.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello. Jazakallah to the organizers for organizing this nice webinar and this session, bringing the community together. And Jazakallah to all the panelists who presented. Especially my question is to Mr. Thakur. Sir, I'm an agri-tech founder and I'm developing agri-exports marketplace. So right now I am doing both developing my MVP, like a prototype web application, as well as I am talking and working with my early customers to get the prototype and iterate on it. And in parallel, I'm also raising a small funding round, like friends and family with other startup founders here in Mumbai. I'm from Mumbai. I forgot to mention that. And also connecting with some angels. So I would like to know whether, what is the best way to pitch you or your fund, Dhow Capital, with regards to this. That's it. And then how we can how we can connect with you, or how I can connect with you after the session. For this.
So from the sounds of it, you are already an active business, right? You're no longer an MVP.
You can say like I'm in a pre-launch phase, but yeah, kind of the product and the ideation has been done.
Okay.
The ideation has been done. I've worked on this.
Your cycle is in motion.
My cycle
in motion, which means do you have a customer and you have a buyer and there is some commerce happening on your platform?
Not yet on the platform. Right now it is offline. So I'm having the commerce being done offline because obviously I have not yet launched the product. So the product will launch inshallah in a month or so. But even before that and even before incorporation, so I have mentioned in the question, but one of the things which I'm planning to do is incorporate outside of India, because the business itself by definition is an agri exports marketplace. So I'm trying to connect exporters and importers and create a vertically integrated marketplace for exporters, right? So the idea is to have it incorporated inshallah in Netherlands. That's like my first priority, because Netherlands is the Silicon Valley of agri businesses. So that's where you have the ecosystem, you have the talent, you have the research and innovation, and you have then.
So the first thing I can tell you is, mashallah, your idea is very good. Where you set up your business, I think we'll need to have another discussion on that, because while Holland is an agri center of the world, Netherlands also has a very high tax rate that may not work for your business. So I think we will discuss that on a different call. But mashallah, and like Zahir Saab was saying, that if we have to succeed as a community, we need to look at the space where we can succeed. And the online space is where we need to participate in. Kokani GDP cannot grow unless we get into the online business. And when I say online, I mean you should do everything online. There should be no inventory. There should be no resources. And that is how the large companies, they grow. Facebook does not become Facebook unless it does everything online. Google does not become Google unless. So if you're making an agri marketplace, make sure that the education required to have farmers use the online platform is the most important part. So I guess we can And here, another fine example of what KCCI can do. KCCI can have an entrepreneur with a very ready MVP discuss, and inshallah, we can see where it goes in terms of development. And I must applaud you. It's very nice to know that a Kokani entrepreneur is looking at something like this, because most of the Kokanis, as you know, we either own land or we own, something else, which is a
land. All right. So how can I take the discussion further with you later on when
could be a good channel for the Kokani producers?
I think I lost you for a few seconds in between.
So I would be sending you the LinkedIn link, so in that way you can be connected to Abdullah Thakur, as well as I'll be sending his ID as well. Don't worry.
Right. All right. Thanks so much.
So if you want to connect with me or with anybody else here on the platform, including the current Prime Minister, Intekhaab Chougle is the one you need to reach out to, and he can arrange all of those meetings. We are conveniently trying to encourage Intekhaab Chougle to stand for the next elections, but he's hiding away from such glory and fame, claiming that he might win and the others
So Abid, while I take it as a compliment, I would rather concentrate with his politics, because that's absolutely a no-no for me.
That's also good with the business venture.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. A lot of money, more accountability.
we can claim that you want a tea. We can claim that you are a tea seller in Chiploon, and we can make a tea stall for you and say this is where your career started. Intekhaab Chougle used to sell tea outside Chiploon.
Abid bhai, if tea selling is the criteria, then we already have a candidate in Majid. Majid Beg is the best one.
Yes, exactly. I think
so he's already selling tea. So he can take it to the next level.
Could we have some concluding remarks from Iqbal Vanoo Saab? Then it could be followed by Mohsin Rakhangi, sir.
एक क्वेश्चन आया हुआ था जिसका मैंने सोचा कि इसका जवाब मैं आखिर में दूं, और वो क्वेश्चन बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, इसलिए कि पहली चीज ये है कि हमारे लोगों में ट्रस्ट कम है। नहीं तो नहीं कहूँगा मैं, ट्रस्ट कम है। लोग ऑलवेज एक दूसरे के ऊपर कोशिश करते हैं कि भरोसा जल्दी से ना करें। हमारे अंदर ये एक खामी रही है जिसकी वजह से हमारी कम्युनिटी की यूनिटी भी लोग क्वेश्चन करते आते हैं कि व्हाई आवर कम्युनिटी इज नॉट यूनाइटेड, एंड इफ देयर आर इनफ थिंग्स डन टू यूनाइट द कम्युनिटी। ओके, आप ये चीज देखेंगे जमाना जब से शुरू हुआ है उससे अब तक टोटल यूनिटी कभी आ नहीं सकती। यूनिटी पर्पस के साथ आती है। So if there is a purpose, everybody can join into the purpose and they can fight for that particular purpose. If you think that, okay, we as a community will be together, will be united, will be one unit, and then only we can launch into the things, we'll have to wait till Qiyamah. So best thing is that, like, that is what we thought when we established KCCI, that okay, हम एक platform बनाते हैं जिसका ये aim होगा। इस एम से रिलेटेड जो भी अपने आप को समझता है, he should join in and then take it forward. Forget that okay, if इसमें फला शख्स है, फला शख्स नहीं है, फला यूनिट है, फला यूनिट नहीं है, फला गांव है, फला गांव नहीं है, इससे परे हटके। And this is how we are going to build up the unity, that if Intekhaab Chougle has got a platform and you feel his platform is good, and if you don't join that, how do you expect that the unity will be established in the community? इसके लिए जरूरी यही था। और डॉक्टर साहब जैसे आपने कहा कि बिगर एम्स, वो बिगर एम्स ऑलरेडी दे आर इनटू द रोड मैप जो बनाया हुआ था, उसके अंदर रोड मैप के अंदर ऑलरेडी है। इंतखाब चौगले के पास वो रोड मैप है कि इसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप किस तरह लेके जाना। बट एक चीज आपने बहुत पर्टिनेंट कही कि विजिबिलिटी वाली बात, तो विजिबिलिटी आने के लिए हमने सोचा था कि पहले इस चीज को उस लेवल पे ले जाते हैं जहाँ पे लोगों को इसमें ट्रस्ट आए, क्योंकि ट्रस्ट का फुकदान बहुत है। हमारे लोगों में ट्रस्ट नहीं आता क्योंकि बहुत सारे बहुत सारे NGOs आते हैं, बहुत सारे आइडियाज आते हैं, एंड दे die out also so fast. So first we thought that we will establish a platform which is strong enough, which has got a strong base, and then we go in for the visibility, like you already mentioned that, yes, visibility is very important, and that without visibility, that we cannot achieve all our aims and goals. इसलिए आप सब लोगों से दरख्वास्त है कि आप सब इंडिविजुअली तौर पे, if you think that this is a right place, this is a right platform, and the right things which are being done, then join in, and plus those who do not feel very comfortable and they still are looking for the united ummah kind of thing, tell them that no, first join it and form this and make it a ummah. You
Yes.
make this entity as a ummah, and then that ummah concept will spread out, and it will go into everything, into our jamaat, into our villages, into our community, everywhere this ummah concept will be there. But
Yes.
first thing is that if you are confident with some entity, like KCCI is there, the marketplace is there, KSM is there, join in, give your, वही कहते हैं ना कि ये मत सोचो कि तुमको उनसे क्या मिला है, ये सोचो कि तुम उनको क्या दे सकते हो, क्योंकि ये कम्युनिटी को देने वाली बात है. तो इसी बात
Well
पे
said.
हाँ, इसी बात पे मैं चाहूंगा कि आप सब लोग इसे ज्वाइन करें. अगर आपको इस बारे में किसी किस्म की भी कोई क्वेरी है, कुछ है, वी आर ऑलवेज ओपन, वी आर वेरी फ्रैंक, वी वुड कम बैक टू यू, वी विल टेल यू व्हाट वी आर डूइंग, हाउ वी आर डूइंग, एंड आपकी जो क्वेरीज है उसको हम सेटिस्फैक्टरीली आंसर भी करेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच, और स्पेशल थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर साहब फॉर
My pleasure.
या ओके, आप ओवर टू यू.
Thank you. We have one gentleman, Mr. Aslam Chougle. He would like to put up some questions to the panelists. Yes.
Before we take the question, I think, Alhamdulillah, it's been a very interesting discussion and we've overstretched. So maybe in next 10 to 15 minutes on the higher side, we should probably try to look at close. Okay, so maybe this could be a last question, and then all the questions we will try and revert back online through the mail, and then we can maybe look at a closure kind of thing.
Mr. Aslam Chougle, all yours. Yeah. Yes, you have been unmuted.
असलम साहब, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. असलम साहब, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Not an issue. There will be some technical glitch. I think we can continue with Mohsin Rakhangi saab's concluding remark. Mohsin Rakhangi saab, if you can hear us. Can we have Mohsin Rakhangi saab over here at this moment? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Aslam bhai, go ahead.
Jazakallah. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizers for creating a much needed platform and also may Allah shower His mercy on give all the success for the future endeavors. More than the question, basically it's a suggestion also, where basically all we Kokanis who are residing in Gulf and are facing with this uncertainty of going back to India and what we can do. We are basically, to be honest, looking for opportunities where we can, create a second source of income. So I would like to basically make a humble suggestion is that if we can have a platform where all those Kokani brothers who are having a project, who require funds, okay, those funds are verified, certified by the experts on the panel, okay, from various industries. We can have a rating done from a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. Okay. And there can be a scope of what is the budget required for that particular project, the window of how many people can participate in that. And then, we can basically, individuals can come in and start investing the money in that. So we will be basically creating a fund for those people. At the same time, we as an individual will be having an opportunity to not make investment in one business venture, but multiple business venture. And as those business ventures basically prosper, we can highlight them as to like, okay, this was a small venture where 5 Kokani Muslim brothers came together from the platform of KCCI, and this is a success that has made, and definitely that will basically motivate more people to join in. and at the same time more people to come forward and basically help the Ummah, as what we were talking about. And earlier brother Iqbal Vanoo was saying that when you have a purpose, then the unity comes in. So basically, as we all have come forward for a particular purpose or a hadaf or a aim, the unity as slowly starts coming in. So this was my basic suggestion also. And maybe if there is such opportunities, please do give a shout, because we are having here in Oman the Oman Kokani Welfare Association, where there are many brothers who would like to be a part of it. So and basically invest in this. And I am a part of OKWA here in Oman, and there are my brothers here. We are around 200 members who would like to be a part of KCCI and such platform. Jazakallah khair.
Mashallah.
Jazakallah. If you could have a 2-minute concluding remark by Mohsin Rakhangi sir, I'll just unmute him.
Okay. There was a very good point mentioned by Kazi sir about the cooperatives. And that was one of the thinking that when I looked at some places like in Harbe, I found that there is a cooperative, a departmental store, exactly as what we see how people purchase grocery and other items in Kuwait or any other metropolitan cities. So this kind of concept is growing, and probably we should be focusing now in kind of these businesses where people are looking towards shopping as a not as the local way that we used to see before, that people used to go to a grocery store and the way that they were approached. Now people have this the trolley based, you pick your item and you move around, and without even asking you just pick up your things and walk away making the payment. These kind of stores, now that we have seen too many in Navi Mumbai areas like D-Mart and all this, maybe we could also think about establishing such kind of chain of departmental stores, supermarkets, hypermarkets, and this could be one of the very promising businesses in Kokan if we could do this. Another that Abid Bhai talked about, buying from Kokani establishment. Now, this is a very important point he raised, because this tells you that we are supposed to support more than thinking about our own benefit. Like if I give an example of buying gold, especially when we have marriage seasons, we see that we go and empty our thousands and lakhs of rupees of gold into another community where they just take the money and they flourish. And we haven't seen any of such businesses in our community that could let's say come up with such a gold store or shops that could circulate the money within our community as well. So we should go away from that mentality of yani, I don't know what they call it, kekre ki community by pulling legs, but we should be helping them to grow and go up. So this is a very important point that I just realized when I was just going through this point that I was going to make. Abid Bhai actually raised it, and I'm happy that like these kind of opportunity that we need to see in order to help our people to grow. So that's my concluding remark, that if anybody is going to start an entrepreneurship, he should be helped and we should be their first customers, regardless of we buy it once in a lifetime, but all of us should try to buy or to take the services just for the sake of supporting, if not trying to do. But this is a good thing that we can all do to help our community.
Thank you, Mohsin. I completely agree. I think even the attendees would agree, because the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He's the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. So completely agree with you, Mohsin bhai. So If, with the permission of Intekhaab Bhai, if we can have a concluding remark as a founder of KCCI.
So, I would like to first thank everybody for joining in, and this will be very encouraging, to be very honest. Okay, a fantastic response, super support. Inshallah, we will grow. We all aspire to grow, but that first step is very important, and I think we should not never forget that everything that starts is with a baby step. So while a lot of points were made, valid points were made, and a lot of important things came out today, I think it's very important for us to come together. That's the first thing that we do. So you may not do a transaction, not necessarily you have to do a transaction, but be there, support that initiative, support that person from your community who is making the start. At least be by his side. And I think the first initiative that we can do is probably make our own marketplace grow. We just 5,000 today. 5,000 is just like a mere number given the community size that we have. Mashallah, Alhamdulillah. I have always seen people praising Kokani community not only for thinking ability but also for their growth, also for their network, also for their reach across the globe. Mashallah, our community is there everywhere, you name it, across the country, you name it, Middle East, you name it, Western world. Alhamdulillah, we are there. So I think the first thing that we need to do is take the responsibility or the ownership of connecting people, okay, on the valid platforms at least. You may not do the transaction, not required. You don't have to be a buyer, but at least be there in numbers. That gives an encouragement to every entrepreneur that he is reaching out to people. Okay, he may not look forward to transactions, 100% transactions coming from the community, but we will see that okay, what I am doing today is maybe even if I'm sending a dress or maybe a shoe, okay, I am reaching out to my people. My people know what I am doing. So I think that's very important. Let's come together. That's a first baby step that we need to take, and let's demonstrate that with Kokani Marketplace. So that could be the first thing. So that's my request. Everybody has their own way of thinking. Okay, and I don't think so. I should take too much of time. In fact, we've had this discussion going on for a little longer than we had scheduled for, but Alhamdulillah, we had a lot of good learnings coming out of it. Plus, Jazakallah, Dr. Zahir Saab, for coming on board over here as a surprise guest, surprise addition, and encouraging us. Okay, you've always been a great support, and you've always been there with us right from the ideation stage, and we are thankful for that. I want to thank Abid Bhai for the fantastic presentation as always. I still remember that the first workshop that we did. Your presentation was amazing, and everybody connected. And again, after that till now, there has been a big void in the sense like we were not able to keep that on an ongoing basis. But I think this is where you came in and you shared some fantastic views and visuals. This will be very, very helpful for all of us. I want to thank Iqbal Bhai and Mohsin for being a part of this panel and being here. Once again, a big thank you to all of you for joining in. Bahut bahut shukriya, Jazakallah. Without you, nothing would be possible. And thank you for making this possible. Last but not least, I think it will not be fair if we conclude this webinar without thanking the tech team which made this possible. So, I want to thank Awad, Moin, we have Adin, we have Nawaf. These are young boys, like young and dynamic. I think Awad, average age of what, 24 to 28?
Yeah, between 21 to 25, and Zahir Kaisa would be really proud. Among four of the technical team, two are from Anjuman Islam.
Mashallah. So, this entire thing was made possible by the tech team, which is the youth. 21 to 25 is the average age that we're talking about. So this is what we already have. Now it's up to us that how we use them, their talent, how we utilize their potential. It's all up to us, because if we do that in the right way, inshallah, we'll be creating a win-win situation not only for our generation but for the generations to come. And this is I think with this note, I want to say thank you, and Allah Hafiz from my end at least. Jazakallah. Thank you very much, everybody. Abid bhai, would you want to say something? Okay, Abid bhai, I guess, is moved out. Zahir bhai, before we wind up, would you want to say something?
No, I'm through. Wish you all the very best. और
जज़ाकल्लाह।
मेरा ये मानना है, जहां तक कोकनी बिरादरी है, हर
जी,
चीज मुमकिन है.
इंशाल्लाह,
कोकनी है तो मुमकिन है.
इंशाल्लाह. Iqbal bhai, over to you for the final verdict. Ayub bhai.
Yes, sir. I've unmuted you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Jazakallah khair, everyone. And a big round of applause to Intekhaab Chougle and Awab for the wonderful presentation what they have put up today together. Dr. Sir, आपको clap किया, आपकी clap की तरफ से हमारा हक अदा कर दिया for this to and for everybody, please watch out for our future announcements. Inshallah, we'll be coming up with more and more such events and more such initiatives which will be beneficial for the community, which will be beneficial for individual as well. And like everybody has been saying that there are some people who have got money, there are some people who have talent, and KCCI is there to bring them together. So join us every time that whenever we have any such opportunity for you. And thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Abid bhai, would you want to put up something for closing? Awab, Abid bhai को unmute कीजिए.
Okay. Yes. Well, basically, just to say the dua of closing this beautiful event. Subhanallah. سبحانك حمدك وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. This way we can close the gathering in a very nice way, and may Allah bless everybody. This was fantastic, Intekhaab. MashaAllah. Well done, you and your team. Jazakum Allah khair.
Exactly.
Allah Hafiz all.
Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you.
Jazakallah. So thank you. Jazakallah.
Thank you all.
Jazakallah. If everyone could really fill up the feedback form, whoever is there in the meeting, whoever have not done it, KCCI have been very kind. They'll be giving you a certificate. Once you fill up the feedback form, you'll be receiving the certificate immediately on your email ID. So that's a small token of appreciation, a love from KCCI, from Intekhaab bhai, from Iqbal Vanoo Sahab to everyone. So hopefully we'll be meeting for the next webinar. And there are a few suggestions also, if you can put up into the feedback form, we'll definitely try to improve. That's what we are here for. The feedback link, everything is there into the chat room. We would really appreciate if you can put up what you would like to hear us from KCCI and for the next webinar. What improvements would you like to have for it? Your feedback is really valuable for us. And once you finish the feedback, immediately within a minute, you'll be receiving a certificate on your registered mail ID, which you'll be giving it for your feedback form. Thank you. I think we have Muzaffar Juwale. Sir, if we can put your question via mail, because we have already ended the session. Sorry for it. Really appreciate your question, but if you can put down to a mail. I've already put down the number of the founder of KCCI, Intekhaab Chougle Sahab. So if you can directly get connected to him. I will again put up his number. If anyone wants to connect to Intekhaab Chougle Sahab, you can get connected to him on this number. that's his number. You can, so all your queries regarding KCCI would be solved. So thank you so much. With the permission of Intekhaab and Iqbal sir, should I end the meeting for everyone?
Please go ahead.
Yes, please. Yeah, please end the meeting. Yeah.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah bhaiya.